Hey everyone, welcome in to the Father-Son Football Fanatics podcast. We're glad you're here with us today. It's kind of a rainy, gloomy day outside here in Ohio. I don't know about everywhere else, but we're gonna have a good show for you anyway. It's a little cold outside for April, but we're gonna get into the show. We're gonna have some news, and then we're gonna talk about who in the world is left in free agency. So we're going to get right into that. All right, we've got some news today. You know, it's not a jam-packed news show like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we got so spoiled to all this big news like Tyreek Hill and, Russell Wilson and all this huge news.
Now I got some unknown names basically.
Yeah, we've got decent known names, but news nonetheless, and it does make a little bit of a difference. Just not as shocking as some of the news that we've talked about in the past.
Like you got Tyreek Hill, who else? Russell Wilson,
Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
I mean,
just everybody, but now it's just Devontae Parker.
Hey, still some
Deshaun Watson.
relevant.
I mean, Deshaun Watson's good, but it's
that was some big news that we had a couple weeks ago. But a little bit more news actually on Deshaun Watson. So the NFL came out and said that he's going to be required to disclose all information in regards to the allegations against him. So he isn't charged with any criminal charges, which means he can be eligible to play in the NFL this year, but they have an investigation going on. They don't know how long the investigation is going to take, and they don't know what the suspension is going to be once that investigation's over. But basically, they get to ask him questions, and he has to reveal everything. So if he chooses to do that, then he can play in the NFL, but I'm sure there will be a suspension. So I don't think the Browns are getting as good of a deal as they thought they might, just because of how long this might drag out. But still someone, you might want to pick up and stash on the bench, for later in the season. But I don't see him starting the season this year.
Me either.
So, in other news, you wanna jump into the other one there?
Yeah, Devontae Parker going to the Patriots. I'm pretty sure that he got traded from Miami to the Patriots. And I don't understand, why they would want him. I mean, I guess the Dolphins really don't need a wide receiver too bad, but
The Dolphins got Tyreek Hill.
They got Tyreek Hill. They got Jalen Waddle. Now they got Cedric Wilson.
They've really loaded up on
wide outs.
Some talent. Tyreek's a good veteran. The other guys are young, but talented. That can be there for a while.
Old. He's old and
he's
dusty.
He's not that old, and I think honestly, it's a really good thing for him and Mac Jones that he's in New England. Because Devontae Parker's been a relevant receiver, but who has he had throwing him the ball? He had Ryan Fitzpatrick for a little bit, but other than that, nobody of any relevance has been throwing the ball to him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still been a relevant receiver in fantasy, so he's someone I kind of have my eye on as a sneaky late round pick because him and Mac Jones, they might have good rapport. Mac Jones is a good quarterback. It might turn out really well for him.
Mm-hmm.
A couple other things that we hadn't really touched on. Not a whole lot of relevance, but just going to throw a few of them out there. Marlon Mack signs to Houston. So he becomes, I think, the fourth.
Who?
Marlon Mack.
Oh, Colts old running back that tore his ACL and then didn't play the whole season.
Yeah, I think it was his Achilles, maybe.
Achilles. That just hurts.
And so he was out. He came back last year, but obviously Jonathan Taylor had beat him out for the job, hands down. But I
He
think
was the third string, Marlon Mack was.
I think him and Royce Freeman both go to Houston. They've already got Rex Burkhead.
They got David Johnson.
They
right?
signed Dare Ogunbowale, whatever that guy's name is, from Jacksonville. Kind of a washed up. I mean, so he becomes one of like 4 washed up running backs that's going to fight for the starting job there. We'll see what happens. Nothing too exciting there. Now, here's another one, though. Ronald Jones to Kansas City. Ronald Jones showed some flashes of talent, some flashes of good playability.
He got a 98-yard rushing touchdown.
He did. And I think he can bring some stability to the running back position in Kansas City where they haven't really had any.
I don't think... No, they're number 1 on their team. I forget his name. Number 1.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
That's 25.
Oh, you mean actual jersey number 1. Okay.
Yes.
I thought you meant the number 1 running back.
No,
Yeah,
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is not.
He's the number 1 on the depth chart, but not number 1 in your hearts. If you had him in fantasy, you were let down. But for news, that's about all we've got today. But we're going to jump right into some free agency. Who's left? I mean, everybody's kind of been picked through. There's not, it's kind of like the family dinner when you get the bucket of fried chicken and everybody's got the chicken legs and the chicken breasts and the everything that you want. And then it's like, what's left? You go back and there's like some liver and some, chicken wing, stuff that nobody wants.
I would like a chicken wing.
Well, I mean, like an actual chicken wing. Like, I don't know. It's not as good. Like chicken wings from Buffalo Wild Wings, absolutely. They're great. But like the wing you get from KFC, it's not that good. So, but anyway, yeah, it's like the gizzards and the
we know.
stuff that you don't like. That's what's left. So, before I ramble on, let's get into who in the world's left.
Who in the world is left?
Free agents. Who's left? Basically, we don't know. They're pretty unknown names because everybody's been signed now because we're pretty deep into the offseason, about 2 months into the offseason by now. And
Really, by now, teams are looking at the draft.
yeah,
If you haven't gotten
you
that
got
guy...
it in like 20 days, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming up quick. So, teams are kind of looking forward to that. But there are
This is so I just wanted to say something. Joshua Dobbs was signed, and Ryan Fitzpatrick, Cam Newton, people like that were not. Joshua Dobbs was signed to Cleveland for $0.
Who? Well, no. It's just they don't know the contract yet. But who is Joshua Dobbs? I don't even know.
He's the bald guy that used to play on Pittsburgh. He's kind of like he was bald, like fully bald.
He had
like,
to have been like the 4th string,
and he's 27 too.
like place kick holder. Like, I mean, because you had Ben Roethlisberger, Mason Rudolph, also known as Helmet Head, and then Dwayne Haskins. So, okay. I mean, sure, Cleveland, whatever. If that's your, I think I'd rather keep Baker Mayfield, but
I'd rather pick up Cam Newton or Ryan Fitzpatrick.
but you saw Cam Newton play last year. Do you
I'm
really?
back.
Do you really want that on your team? I don't. Ryan Fitzpatrick's almost 40, and I would definitely take him over Cam Newton any day.
I mean, he's old.
There's just not much left in the quarterback position. You've got Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I don't even know. I haven't really looked into him much. He might not even be coming back. Like, he may be retiring. But you've got Cam Newton, Mike Glennon, A.J. McCarron, Geno Smith, Josh Rosen. So, just nobody that anybody wants. I think teams are to the point where they say, I'm going to roll the dice in the draft, and I'm not going to pick up any of these guys.
I'm not going to pick up Cam Newton.
Yeah, and I don't blame them there at all.
Yeah, that's about it, though. Cam Newton, Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's about it for quarterback position.
Yeah.
Now the running back position.
There's a few left in the running backs that
That are interesting.
I would roll the dice on a few of these guys over the draft.
Wait, what in the world?
So, the biggest name on the list, Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon.
He did good last year. He's got the ability to do it again. He's only 28. I mean, you've got players that play well into their 30s. Look at Frank Gore.
He retired.
I mean,
he signed a one-day contract to San Francisco and then
he
retired
did,
the day after.
But the guy was a beast, and he played well until he was like 34. I mean, he was still a good running back all the way up to that point. So, Melvin Gordon still got a little bit of gas in the tank.
I say people I don't know, people that need a running back except Miami
Well, everybody can use a good
backup.
or a good counterpart. You know, you've got.
I say you can go back to Denver.
You've got someone like the Bengals, for instance. You've got Joe Mixon. He could really use a good counterpart.
I say the Bengals get somebody in the draft, like a running
They
back.
probably will. Yeah.
Actually, they might not get, because we could wait another 2 years to do that. Because Joe Mixon's still going to be young in his prime for probably another 2 years, and then he's going to go downhill.
I mean, it's just simple math. It happens to all the best of them. But another one that's still on the board that really surprises me is Sony Michel.
That surprises you?
He came into the Rams last year, really stepped into a role that needed filled, did a good job filling that role.
And then just got benched
And he
in the
kind of-
playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Akers came back and they kind of pushed him to the side.
Exactly.
But he did well the whole year that he was
I
there.
like Cam Akers.
Yeah, I do too. Hopefully he does well this year.
And
But
doesn't tear his ACL.
but Sony Michel. So where do you think Sony Michel lands?
Probably back at LA.
You think so?
I mean, maybe they need one, kind of.
I'm gonna go with the Jets. They've got Michael Carter.
I actually say the Giants.
He's good, but he could really use that good counterpart like we were talking about. Sony Michel would be really good for that role.
And I have another one that's kind of interesting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who's
Carlos Hyde.
that? Carlos Hyde.
He's a Buckeye. You can't do that to
He
Buckeyes.
is an ex-Buckeye, and he has shown year after year that he's not worthy to be called a Buckeye anymore. So we can move right along past Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, I don't think there's any really more.
Well, a couple that stand out to me. One is Devontae Booker.
So you're doing that over Carlos Hyde? Yeah, I am.
I would take Devontae Booker over Carlos Hyde. He stepped in for Saquon Barkley last year, and
And he got you 2 fantasy points.
for fantasy he had a bad game or two, but he stepped in for Saquon while he was injured for like 8 weeks in a row. And I didn't really miss Saquon that much. I mean, as sad as that is to say, he was getting me 15 to 20 fantasy points a week, which honestly, when Saquon came back, that was more than Barkley was getting. I mean, he came back and was just terrible. So Devontae Booker is one I would like to see go somewhere and have some relevance. Another one that stands out to me is Malcolm Brown. Malcolm Brown, he was on the Rams 2 years ago. He came in, had a phenomenal game, and then he broke his finger. and they had to sit him out for a few weeks. That's when Darrell Henderson came in, and Darrell Henderson actually did pretty well. And then by that point, they had Cam Akers up and running, and it was kind of a, Malcolm Brown got lost in the shuffle and kind of took the back seat. He went to Miami last year, and if I'm not mistaken, he got injured in Miami, and that's why they ran with, obviously, Myles Gaskin. Everybody thought he was going to do better than he did. And there's another guy, he's slipping my mind now who they were running with, but neither one of them did all that well. But Malcolm Brown, I think, has got a little bit of juice left, a little bit of talent that he could display. So
about this size of this helmet left, about that much?
Yeah, about that much.
So
maybe,
he's relevant.
Maybe enough. And here's, I'm not saying go get Malcolm Brown with your third-round running back pick in your fantasy draft.
It's not even
But what I'm saying is keep him on your radar, because over a lot of these other names, over Phillip Lindsay, over Carlos Hyde, over Latavius Murray, over Alex Collins. I mean, he's someone that you could get in round 14 of your fantasy draft.
I don't know if they have 14.
He's still going to be there. You could probably get him on waivers after the draft. He's still going to be there. Just keep an eye on him. He might be someone, especially with Miami's changes that they've made at the running back position.
They got Raheem Mostert. They got Bob Cook.
If he goes back to Miami, or he might go somewhere else and have a little bit of relevance. But that's who I think could be relevant there.
We've got wide receivers left.
And
there's not
wide
too
receivers.
much. There's not too much left.
Yeah.
So the only one that really catches my eye is Odell and Julio.
There are some receivers available that I would be interested in.
Yeah, but for
we won't dive
fantasy-wise, I don't.
too deep into all of them, but I mean, Will Fuller could come out and be a rock star.
Well,
Jarvis
if
Landry.
he gets signed.
Jarvis Landry could come. He could be a flex value. He's not going to be your starting wide receiver.
He
could
gets
be
signed.
Flex. Cole Beasley. I think he's still got some time left in the league.
Less than half of this. Like this much left juice.
You're saying he doesn't have much.
No, he doesn't. He's old. He's 32. Wide receivers usually retire around that age.
Yeah,
even younger.
And I agree with you that Odell Beckham is one of the more, probably the most interesting one on the list, because he showed what he can do with a good a good quarterback last year. I mean, he really did great. And
didn't he tear his ACL or sprain it in the Super Bowl?
I think he ended up. I think it was a tear. I think they did say that because they said he might not even be available for the start of next season, which, I mean, we'll see how that turns out. But you've still got T.Y. Hilton. You've still got Emmanuel Sanders. You've still got A.J. Green, Sammy Watkins. I mean, there's a ton of guys left. I just don't see a bunch of them getting signed.
I just saw
and being relevant.
At the very bottom of the list, I scrolled all the way down. Guess who's down there? Michael Combs, 34 years old, and no team wants him.
Hey, no, that's the wrong page. Go to the tight end page.
Oh,
tight end page. That would be if we can get there. Sorry for the dead air.
Yeah, people. I can't do it.
There we go. Tight ends. Here we are on the list. You've got Jimmy Graham, Paul. You've got Rob Gronkowski.
Michael Combs.
Jared Cook, and then you go way down here. Michael Combs.
Can I
just turned 34, by the way. Okay, I still got a good season or two left in me.
Can I tell them something?
If anybody wants to pick me up for a third stringer, whatever, I'm available.
Can I tell them something?
Tell them something.
So a few years back, there was a team that was interested in him as a tight end, and I'm pretty sure he would make money if they did good or something. like $80.
Yeah, not a lot of money.
So I think he should have took the job, and like after he went to work, he could come back from work, go to practice, and then play the games, and then maybe eventually he could make it to the NFL. But no, he didn't decide. That was when he was like,
I was like 27 or 28 probably.
yeah.
Yeah, the ship had sailed. That would not have happened. I probably would have just ended up with a broken ankle
Again.
and $100. You know, I mean it would have been fun. It would have been fun, but it didn't pan out that way. But hey, any team that is interested, I can still be a tight end.
A Jimmy Grandpa tight end.
Hey.
You're like the same age as him.
Okay, you know what? We got to wrap this up. So those are our free agents that are left in the NFL. We're looking forward to the draft coming up soon. And we've got another great show for you next week. So tune in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Give us some love in the comments. We appreciate all you guys. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.